Yes, yes. Yo, yo, people. Yes, we are live and direct on YouTube. I do believe the stream is running crystal clear for the ear, or at least I hope it is, with no sound hiccups. I don't think we've got any sound hiccups at the moment. I think we're running smoothly. So we're back with another FL Studio stream. And this one was a little bit different for me, and it was definitely a little bit weird. But nevertheless, I've really enjoyed working on this tune, and it's not like completely finished yet. Like, I've just got to do some like final sort of like changes to it, and just making the tune sound better in itself. But this is something that I don't really do that often because it in a lot of sense, it doesn't really interest me doing this usually, but on this case it actually interested me, and I actually sort of really enjoyed doing it. And what I've done is, you'll tell by the title, I've mashed up an old Calvin Harris song with a new Calvin Harris song. So when it comes to me and chart music, I'm not usually really a big fan of the chart music, and it's not something that I'm like sort of too well interested in. Like, if I'm gonna do a remix, it'll be like probably a remix of like an old club classic or like an old house classic. I don't normally dive up into the sort of chart eras of things. However, when it does come to the charts, Calvin Harris, he's done a few songs over the years that I've actually not minded. Like, I've actually quite liked them and enjoyed them. And there was a particular tune he did quite a lot of years ago now that had a really sort of good melody to it, and the vocal was quite good. However, I couldn't find the vocal for it when I was like gonna do a version of this tune. So I decided that why don't I make a mashup with like two Calvin Harris tracks and see how well they go together. So recently in the charts, Calvin Harris has done a song called "By Your Side" with a vocalist by the name of Tom. I forget the last name, and it's actually quite a catchy song, and I actually do quite like the song. I'm not gonna lie to you, and again, like I say, charts aren't really usually my strong point for music. I'm not a big fan of the charts. I find a lot of the chart tunes just, I'll be honest, like just utter and total shite. And the charts are nowhere near as good as they used to be. Sort of even say like 10 years ago, like when I was growing up, and there was like Nelly, there was like Neo, there was like Beyonce, Rihanna did so many better songs like back then. And you had like just, I don't know, there was just a lot more better tunes in the charts back then. Whereas now a lot of it sounds sort of almost the same. And there's all this like mumbled rap, and then there's all these like, I don't know, just tunes that just don't sound like they're at the full potential, but they put them out anyway, and they just the radios repeat them too much like during the day, and for me, I just don't enjoy them. But when it comes to this "By Your Side" with Calvin Harris, it kind of caught my eye, and I've actually really sort of started to like the tune, and I've really enjoyed the vocal in it. So when I got the acapella for it, I thought, well, why don't I just do a remix of this "By Your Side"? So I got the MIDI for "By Your Side," and I was sort of having a little play around with it, and I thought, do you know what? I don't actually really dig this. And then this is when I found some like leads and stems for the old for an old Calvin Harris tune, and I thought, why don't I just do a little experiment, and why don't I see if these tunes actually work well together mashed up? So this is my own mashup called "I Am Not By Your Side." Now the backing tune is Calvin Harris, "I'm Not Alone." And the vocal is the Calvin Harris's sort. I don't know if it's his latest, but it's one of his newer ones, and it's called "By Your Side." So I thought, instead of "I'm Not Alone," "I'm Not By Your Side." It's like a little mashup, and I think it sounds quite good. There is some adjustments that probably need making, and some of the sounds might just maybe need changing up, and maybe a few things could be added to it just to make it sound a bit more beefier and maybe to fill it out a little bit more. But once I sort of get somewhere where I'm getting quite happy with these tunes and I feel like this is something where I'll definitely go further to complete it, that's when I like to come live and sort of share these projects, if you like. When I get a feeling that I know I'm gonna definitely like do something with this project and it's not something that will get scrapped, I like to come live, and I do like to sort of put the idea out there, if that makes sense, for sort of like what my initial sort of plan is going forward. So without further ado, this is Calvin Harris versus Calvin Harris. I Am Not By Your Side. Let me know what you think. It's a donk tune, by the way. I don't think I explained that. It is a donk tune, but it's still a mashup.
When you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up in the morning, and you're shadowed by the darkness of the night. When you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up, when you wake up in the morning, and you're shadowed by the darkness of the night. When you wake up in the morning, and you're shadowed by the darkness of the night. When you wake up in the morning, darling, I'll be by your side. When you wake up in the morning, and you're shadowed by the darkness of the night. When you wake up in the morning, darling, I'll be by your side. morning, darling, I'll be by your side. When you wake up in the morning and you're shadowed by the darkness of the night. When you wake up in the morning, darling, I'll be by your side. When you get a little lonely and you lose your way, don't give up the fight. When you wake up in the morning, darling, I'll be by your side.
And that just sort of more or less takes us to the, like the mixing out point. So on that very last little section of the melody, that's just something I'm working on at the moment. There's like a part in the original song where the melody goes a little bit more high pitched, and it just sounds a little bit different. Now I'm trying to work on that at the moment. I know that just kind of came in like really loud and overpowering, and was just almost like a change of sound more than just like another sound added to it. So I do know that there was, there needs to be a like some form of a little bit of a change there, and I'm not too sure if I'm happy with the melody just after the very first breakdown before it builds up. So when it comes into the very first melody here, I'm not sure if I want to make this like a little bit longer, or if it just goes into the build up too quickly. I'm not sure if I want to change the build-ups yet, if I want to add like a little bit of a longer build-up. I'm not sure if this like first drop is too short before it goes back into the, into the thingy here. I'm not entirely sure, so we'll just have to see. But all in all, I am very happy with the tune. Like, it's definitely something that I would like to definitely carry on going forward with. It's something that most definitely is starting to turn out quite well, and I do like the one thing I do like actually is this melody sound here, and I think if I'm not too mistaken, this one right here. I think it's very close to how it actually sounds on the original tune. Like on the original I'm Not Alone, like it is a very, very similar sound. So I was very sort of like happy when I sort of like, because to me it sounds very close, to the point where I'm quite happy with it in the tune. Like, it sounds good for the tune, doesn't sound too different. It sounds very much like the original does. So I was very sort of happy with that, if you like. And I'm just, all in all, I'm just getting quite to the point where, like, at the moment, I'm happy with this tune. Like, I definitely want to carry on with it. And I like doing this, and now I can, like, I can play it to my friend, and he can say, look, change this, change that, fix this up, fix that. He might listen to it and think there's loads wrong with it. He might listen to it and say, you've got a banger here, just change a few little bits. And this is what I like, because he'll be strictly honest with me. He'll tell me, if he thinks it's good, if he thinks it's bad, he will physically let me know. And that's what I like, that he'll be like that, rather than kind of say, oh yeah, this is good, like, when it's not actually that good. And he'll actually help me to almost like turn this into, something better than it already is now. So we've definitely got another little tune here that I do want to keep working with going forward. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tune as well, because like I say, I don't normally go for chart tunes, but this By Your Side is been like one of them chart tunes that has just happened to catch my eye. And it doesn't happen often, but every so often it probably will happen, where I'll hear a chart tune and I'll think, do you know what, there's quite a catchy piano here, or there's quite a catchy vocal, and there might be something that I feel like using. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. So I'm very sort of, I really like to sort of, sometimes like still sort of listen out to the charts just now and again, just to see if anything does catch my eye. But 9 times out of 10, it will just be shite. It will just be a load of crap. And to be honest with you, like I can't be arsed with it half of the time if it's just going to be filled with crap. Especially like people, I don't really know like what exact artists like to name, but Dua Lipa and people like them, they just don't interest me. They don't sing like they sang in the old school house tunes, like when like the early house was discovered, and you had all the like Robin S. Show Me Love, and Julie McKnight with Finally. It was almost like they were singing from the heart and the soul, and they weren't just in a studio like adding effects over the voices. Like they just sang over like a raw, beautiful house tune with a really, just a nice groovy beat to it, and a nice piano. And they made a really good track, and it wasn't built around, how many different layers and effects we can add. It's just, a catchy melody, a nice beat, and a really well sort of easy sing-along vocal, and that just made a really good house tune. And there's loads of great house tunes that just do capture so many good things. And then, like I say, singers nowadays, like in the charts, they have all these effects. They put their voices through. I forget what there's like auto tune. That's it. They put it through auto tune. They had all these different effects, and I just think a lot of like today's society, like nowadays, is just relying on the technology to do things for you. And it's the same with DJing. You've got all these controllers now that have all these screens, and they'll tell you the BPM, and they'll show you the waveforms. And yeah, they might be cool and fancy, and you might feel like you want to have one sitting in your home because you want to get the next sort of biggest and best bit of kit. But the truth is, like, where is the art of the mixing gone? Where you would like just either put a CD in, or you would put a piece of vinyl on a turntable, and you would actually use your ear to actually listen. And a great example of this is I had a friend come over the other weekend, and she's an up and coming DJ, but she sort of relies on the newer equipment. And if she can't see like the BPMs or the waveforms, she struggles. And my CDJs, they tell you the BPM, but they're a little bit broken, and they don't always count them right, because I actually spilt a drink on them, and they've just gone a little bit dodgy over time. So she was mixing up mine, and because there was no sort of like indication of like waveforms, and it's not the equipment that she's used to, she was like nowhere near as a good of a DJ. And this is where I think the art of the music has kind of gone. We've got to rely on our ears. We've got to hear when that music is in time, not be told by what the screen's telling us that the music's in time. Get that song in time by yourself. Listen. Start the tune and try and get it in beat, and if it doesn't work, start it again. Try and put it in beat. Don't solidly rely on on like a piece of hardware to tell you when it's in time. And even sometimes that piece of hardware won't always tell you exactly right. Sometimes there can be a little glitch and a little error, and sometimes that tune might just come in at, I don't know, 150 BPM point something. So there could be like a point 2, there could be like a point 3, and it might just not, so you might have it at 150 by all means, but if it's like point 1 or point 2 or maybe 0.5 or 0.6 even, it will just slowly go out of time, just ever so slightly, to the point where you will just have to nudge it. And especially if you play with vinyl rips as well. So if someone's had like a vinyl tune, they've ripped the audio sound onto a PC and they've turned it into a digital track, the chances are is it is going to move and wobble, and it is going to just slightly go out of time. You're not going to get it exactly correct on, because you've got to remember that vinyl records have bumps and grooves, and sometimes they can just skip that tiny little bit, and the needle might always just not hit it quite right. And sometimes you won't just get that exact fine-tuned BPM of that tune. Do you know what I mean? But that is, in some sense, that is the art of it. And the fact that you've got to keep working, if you're having a mix, you're having a mix. You're not playing a tune and sitting down and having a coffee. Do you know what I mean? The way I see it is you've got that whole track to try and get the tune in time, and then you can get it in beat, and you can chop in and, little teasers of like what tune you're going to drop next. And, I just think there's so much more to it, and there's just such an art for it. And it's just such an amazing feeling. So, without further ado, this is my mashup. And like I say, we shall just see exactly where it goes. If I've got any more updates on this tune, I will be definitely sure to bring you them. We'll have some updates and we'll see where it goes, and we'll take it from there, really. But as I'm up to now, this is where I am at the moment. I'm happy with it at the moment, so I'm definitely going to keep working on it and trying to add a few bits and bobs to it, and just seeing where I can take the track, maybe getting, like I say, advice from friends and things. So we'll see how it goes, but make sure to like, make sure to comment, subscribe, all the rest of it. We'll see you next time.